What would you say if a cop smiled at you and said, "Just help me understand what happened right now"? If you answer the wrong way, you can confess without even realizing it. And once your own words are on camera, they can be used against you, even if you did nothing wrong. Hit subscribe right now, because what I'm about to show you could keep your own words from putting you in handcuffs. Like this video too, so you can find it fast when you actually need it. You need to know how this game works before you're stressed, scared, and trying to think fast. Most people have no idea how quickly a normal stop turns into a confession trap. You think the officer is just making conversation. You think being nice will make this easier. You think if you explain enough, they'll see you're innocent. That is exactly where people get cooked. I've analyzed over 200 body cam videos, and the pattern is always the same. The officer sounds calm, the driver starts talking, then small details start piling up. In this video, you're going to learn the 7 tricks officers use to pull words out of you. The exact lines you can say back, the court cases that support those lines, and the step-by-step way to get through a stop without feeding the case against yourself. Here's the reality. Your mouth can become the strongest evidence the second you stop guarding it. You don't usually get trapped because you're guilty. You get trapped because you're human. You want to look cooperative. You want the tension to end. You want the officer to believe you. So you start filling silence with extra facts. You explain where you were, who you were with, why you were nervous, why your voice changed, why your timeline sounds messy. That feels smart in the moment. But every extra sentence gives the officer something to compare. Test, twist, and replay later. Here's the reality. A lot of confessions are not movie-style confessions. They're little admissions, tiny details, changed stories. One bad joke, one nervous guess, one sentence like, "I only had one drink," or "I didn't know that was still in there." That's all it takes. Let me show you exactly how to stop that before it starts. The first trick is the fake friendly chat. This is when the officer walks up smiling and says things like, "So where are you headed?" or "What's going on tonight?" It sounds harmless. It's not harmless. It's a fishing trip. They are testing your voice, your eyes, your timing, and your story. If your answer changes later by even one detail, they'll say, "You were deceptive from the start." Here's exactly what you say. "Officer, I do not want to answer questions." Word for word. If they keep pushing, say, "I'm invoking my right to remain silent." Those exact words matter. Defense attorneys use this exact line in court. This is 100% legal. You can still hand over your license, registration, and proof of insurance if your state requires it. You can still be polite, but you do not have to fill the air with details about your life. Bad way. Most drivers say, "I'm just coming from my friend's place. I had a long day. I'm tired. That's why I'm nervous." Then the officer hears extra details and starts pulling on every thread. Good way. Smart drivers say, "Officer, I do not want to answer questions." Then the conversation gets smaller and your risk drops fast. This comes straight from Supreme Court rulings. In Burghouse versus Tompkins, the court basically said, staying quiet is not always enough by itself. You have to clearly say you're using your right. And in Salinas versus Texas, the court said just going silent at the wrong moment can still hurt you if you never clearly invoke the fifth. Plain English. Don't just sit there hoping the silence protects you. Use your words once so you can stop using them after that. Let me show you exactly why this works. When you clearly invoke your right, the whole pressure game changes. Your words stop feeding angles. Have you ever been asked these friendly questions during a stop? Drop a comment below and tell me the weirdest one you've heard. The second trick is when they tell you honesty helps. You've heard this one. "Look, just be straight with me." If you're honest, this goes easier. "Help me help you." That sounds fair, but it's built to make you think talking is the safe choice. It usually is not. If you are innocent, you can still get trapped by bad wording. If you are confused, tired, scared, or upset, you can say something sloppy that sounds guilty later. Here's exactly what you say. "I will not answer questions without my lawyer present." Keep it simple, keep it flat. Say it once, say it again if you have to. Miranda is the big case. Plain English. If you clearly ask for a lawyer during questioning, they are supposed to stop interrogating you until a lawyer is there. Bad way. Most drivers say, "I swear I'm being honest. I only had one beer," or "I touched it, but it's not mine." Then the officer gets the admission. Good way. Smart drivers say, "I will not answer questions without my lawyer present." Then the officer has a much harder time turning stress into a statement. Hear this clearly. Being honest is not the same as being safe. You can be a truthful person and still talk yourself into a charge. You can be innocent and still guess wrong about times, distances, names, or what another person did. And once you say it, you don't get to rewind the camera. Former officers have confirmed this. The calm, simple request for a lawyer shuts down the biggest pressure point. Your job is not to convince. Your job is to stop giving the state free evidence. The third trick is the evidence bluff. The officer says, "We already know what happened," or "Your friend already told us everything," or "We've got you on video." Sometimes that's true. Sometimes it's not. Fraser v. Cupp is key. The Supreme Court allowed police deception during questioning in ways that still shock people. Plain English. Officers can sometimes lie to get you talking. Don't treat their claims as facts. Here's exactly what you say. I want a lawyer. I'm not answering questions. That's it. No arguing, no correcting them, no trying to beat them with your own memory. Bad way. Most drivers say, that's impossible. Okay, fine. I was there, but I didn't do it. Then the officer has placed you in the scene with your own mouth. Good way. Smart drivers say, I want a lawyer. I'm not answering questions. Then the bluff dies, unless they have real proof. Watch what happens when people forget this. They hear a fake claim about fingerprints or a witness, then they rush to explain. The explanation becomes the confession. Maybe not a full confession, but enough to lock them into a story. Enough to show consciousness of guilt in legal terms. You do not have to solve the officer's puzzle on the road. Just stop talking and wait for counsel. Most people already clicked away. If you're still here, you're in the top 10%. Drop a comment saying I'm still here, because the next tricks are where people lose their rights. The fourth trick is the casual consent request. The officer acts like the search is no big deal. You don't mind if I take a quick look, right? If you've got nothing to hide, we're good? That is not a harmless question. That is a trap built on your desire to seem innocent. Here's the trick. Even if they had zero right to search before, your consent can open the door. Here's exactly what you say. Officer, I do not consent to any searches. Word for word. Memorize that line. Then stop talking. This is 100% legal. You are protecting rights. Bad way. Most drivers say, yeah, go ahead. Then the search starts and they don't need grounds. Good way. Smart drivers say, Officer, I do not consent to any searches. They must rely on grounds. Schneckloth v. Bustamante says consent counts, even if you did not know you could refuse. Your ignorance helps them. That is why your clear refusal matters so much. Bumper v. North Carolina matters too. If police falsely claim they already have a warrant, your consent is not real consent. So if an officer says they have a warrant, you do not physically resist. But you do not help. You can say, I do not consent, but I will not resist. That preserves the issue for court. The fifth trick is dragging the stop out with side questions until you crack. Suddenly, they want your life story. Where are you going? Why are you sweating? Who owns the car? The longer you stay there talking, the more chances you have to say something messy. Here's exactly what you say. Am I being detained, or am I free to leave? Those words matter. If the officer says you're free to leave, leave calmly. If detained, stop volunteering info. Bad way. Most drivers say, no problem, ask whatever you want. Then the stop grows into an interview. Good way. Smart drivers say, am I being detained or am I free to leave? Demand a real reason. Rodriguez v. United States says police cannot stretch a stop longer than needed to go hunting. Watch what happens when you ask that calmly. The whole stop gets more focused. Pennsylvania v. Mims says an officer can usually order you out of the car for safety. If they tell you to step out, step out. But stepping out doesn't mean you must explain your life. The sixth trick is weaponized silence. The officer asks a hard question, then just stares at you. You feel the urge to fill it. Silence from them does not create a duty for you to rescue the moment. Here's exactly what you say. I am invoking my right to remain silent. Then go quiet. Not rude. Done. Your brain hates empty space when stressed. You start adding facts nobody asked for. Don't guess. Burgos matters again. If you want the right to stay silent, say so clearly. Don't count on body language. The seventh trick is locking you into a written statement. Just write down your side. A written statement freezes your worst version of events. If one detail is off, it hurts you. Here's exactly what you say. I will not make any statements or sign anything without my lawyer. Writing under pressure is dangerous. You're not thinking clearly. You do not know every fact. Your safest move is no statement, no correction, no signature. Don't freestyle explaining. Miranda, Bergheis, Schneckloth, Rodriguez. These court cases are the pillars of your protection. Normal traffic stops cannot be stretched for extra crime hunting without real reason. In a real stop, keep hands visible. If asked where you're coming from, invoke your right. Next video, I'm revealing what to say when cops claim they smell weed. Subscribe now. Your power is in saying less. Smash. Like, if this saved your future self, stay safe out there.